Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to draw a dog's mouth with pastel pencils. So here are the colors that I used. I'm using Faber Castell pastel pencils, and this is about the ones that I used. I do have a layer of pan pastel already here, but you can go without them. Here I'm coloring the teeth with the ivory pencil. They can't be too white because that would look unnatural, so later I'm going to go over that with some ochre probably. Looking at my reference, I'm just filling in the lighter highlighted areas with the lightest gray that I have. I'm using my darker red and purplish colors to color in the gum and under the tongue. I've started using my walnut brown here, as well as some other darker gray colors under the tongue. I'm trying to make the gum shine a little bit by adding small dots with the light gray pastel. I've started using some lighter pinks because I've noticed that there is a lot of light that hits the space under the tongue. The color I used most for the tongue itself is the medium flesh, which, as you can see, is a light pink. I'm using walnut brown and black to shade that area in the tongue. For blending, I'm using a color shaper. These things have plastic tips and they're really great for blending pastels. I'm putting white and light gray on the highlights that I see, the places that are curved on the tongue, and then later I'm going to fill in the spaces between the highlights with the medium flesh color and maybe some purples. Yeah, so here's the medium flesh color, and then I'm going to go over basically the whole tongue with the light gray to lighten it up a lot. The tongue starts to look more alive when I start adding the darker values just in between the highlights. I believe I used the red violet and the darker reds. And now I'm blending out the tongue with the color shaper. I highly recommend these color shapers over the blending stumps. This time I'm putting the highlights more on the edges of the tongue, the outside edges, trying to make it look more curved there. I'm using the white block pastel for the whites now because they are a lot brighter, and I usually try to use this one for shine when I'm trying to make something look wet. It's no big deal if you don't have one, just go ahead and use your normal white pastel pencil. I am going to smooth it out later because it does look too unnatural to have that much white there. The block I put under the tongue was too much, so I'm going over with the medium blush again and smoothing it out, trying to lighten the area. I decided that even though I used ivory and not white, the teeth are too white, so I put a little bit of ochre on the edges and put the white spot in the middle and kind of blended them together. There's the ochre. It's just a yellow-brown, it's hardly noticeable. Moving on to the lower parts of the mouth, the jaw, I'm using the light gray to outline the highlights and going over some areas with the medium flesh color. The dark gray I've been using that's not on the list, it's called dark sepia, I believe. Any dark gray would work. Now I'm going to draw the fur right below the mouth. I'm going to start with a layer of the dark sepia, so just a dark gray. I'm putting that where the shadows are. I'm putting a lighter gray on top of my dark gray, and then another layer of gray, lighter now, on top. In pastels, usually the way to do it is just start with the darkest color and then work your way up, because there is the great benefit of being able to draw lights on top of darks with the pastels. I'm looking at my reference and seeing the darker areas. I'm going over that with black. I didn't start it with black because I want the black to show, and if I had covered it up, then, well, I'd only see the light gray. The way I layer fur when I'm making black fur is I start with a dark gray, and then I put black on top of that, and then I put a lighter gray for the highlights on top of it, and sometimes I add blue. On the dog I'm drawing, there are pockets of ochre-ish areas like the one I'm drawing right now. I'm using burnt umber, light umber, and several variations of ochre there. It's not really important to drawing dog mouths in particular, but those are the colors if you're interested. This black area is actually quite deep, so I'm putting in a little bit of blue also, just to deepen a little bit. Okay, well, I'm just about done with this dog mouth. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, or if you have any suggestions for what I should draw next, please let me know in the comment section, and make sure to like and subscribe.